Welcome to Project Pack 19. This is day 5. My name is Rick.
Hi, I'm Maria, and it's my pleasure to draw with you today. I'm using an 05 brown, an 01 black, and I think it was 08 black.
Right. Rock and roll.
We're going to start with a tangle called fangle.
Now, the background of this is Maria had been working on this tangle for a long time, and she finally nailed it. And she's calling up Molly to tell her about it. And we were at Feng's restaurant. She said, "Oh, I got a new tangle." She said, "Where are you?" "I'm at Feng's." "Well, must be a fangle."
It must be a fangle. So that's where that's named. These are such difficult things that we do, you know.
So you see that S shape, right?
But I'm doing it a little bit different because I'm always wanting to pull out a few things from, you know, little subtle changes that can make things look a little different. So instead of going from a dot in the middle, I'm working off the previous S.
So this is sort of like a fangle tangulation.
Yes.
So starting, instead of the shared point, each one starts sort of piggybacking on the other one.
Right. But you can see that it's an interesting composition right there.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing fangle for a long time, so I thought it would, you know, bring out
Just
some
play with it.
fangalicious differences.
And for something like this, you'll see that Maria's turning it every time, and that really, to get this same feeling of the S shape, it really helps to do it each time.
So we're going to do a backstroke from the end of those S's to about halfway to the right-hand line. Seeing the star-shaped shell come into being. I must have had shells on the brain here, you know, mycelium and...
So it's like one of those, like pinwheel on a stick, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's a great structure for shading as well.
And I'm really getting exuberant. This is big, you know,
Right.
because I thought maybe we could do something with it later.
And so now you see why Martha was saying to save these corners, because we wanted to put like these big, joyous, exuberant pieces.
So now from tip to going in the other direction, halfway, and joining up on that left-hand line.
Sort of like it was like looking at X and decided, oh, I like that going back and forth. But now it looks like each one of those petals, or whatever they are, is hollow and the other one's coming out of it. It's a great effect.
So it's sort of starfishy in a way, right?
Very.
So I'm going to do that stroke again that we had done from the tip, you know, inside a little.
So just adding another element that repeats in each one of those,
it's always
whatever we call them.
A good idea if you want to watch these all the way through before you pick up your pen and then try it again. Some of them are a little different than what you expect, so I don't want you to jump ahead whenever I'm teaching.
And and you'll see again at the end different things that other people have done. And again, turning your piece of paper really helps in this case. And we try to have everybody have a way for people that can't get the project pack to work with us. And if you listen to the introduction, we give some suggestions.
So I'm working with my 05 brown here, and I'm adding some moon pie, which has become one of my favorites. Anytime I see a little corner or a pizza shape, I can throw in some moon pie, and it just is this fun little unexpected tangle. All simple tangles that we already work with. It doesn't even need distinct explanations of any kind. You know, a combination of perfs and some
Crescent moon,
crescent
and
moon,
like begins with crescent moon,
yeah,
and
yeah.
hence the moon pie.
Yeah,
right?
and then the next one we're going to put some Knightsbridge, which I love the combination of these. And you can go on and make layers of these with different auras and
Well, it's so neat because you've got dark and then light and then round and then square, and it's a really nice contrast within itself. And you can see the value of having an aura separating the elements, right?
Mm-hmm.
And without that aura, it would have a totally different look.
The aura just ties it together. It tightens up the tangle, right. I think.
Like that. And then we're going to fill, or she's going to fill that whole space with another set of perfs. And they like are in behind each other as well. And then at the same time playing with what's next to it in like an almost impossible way.
So we're going to start again with the moon pie. Taking your time to color it in with this rich, beautiful brown. I'm jumping ahead here. You can always stop your video and catch up. Please always feel like you can do that.
And each one of these shapes is a little bit different, but you can see how you can make these fit almost any shape at all.
So you can see the shell almost. If we had gray and white, you'd see the abalone and the different shell colors.
So this really is about, discovering your ability to fit these into any shape at all. It's a really great exercise because the basics of the pattern are always there, but you realize how you can adapt it to all these different circumstances.
And it's funny how crescent moon appears in so many different ways. It was the beginning and the origins.
And the those, instead of just having a line of auras, we have auras of the perfs and auras of the Knightsbridge. So you could call them origins, right?
Origins.
Origins.
We're going to have to hold on to that one. Write that down, Rick, right now. Write that down.
Right, and then...
And some Knightsbridge.
And really take your time, particularly with the filling in. It's not something to rush through. It's like really enjoy all those beautiful, the whole experience of putting the pen to paper and whatever you're doing, just that deliberateness, whether drawing a line or filling a space.
So these moon pies sort of serving as a way of making the star shape come into the foreground, right?
And so in the next set of sections, Maria's going to do Duda.
With my 08 black. This has become one of my favorites. It's such a simple line tangle, and I don't usually do straight lines. Well, these aren't actually that straight.
They're pretty straight. They're straight, but there's this texture to them. So you'll notice how Maria changes the pressure on the pen ever so.
I'm pressing pretty hard here these 08s are pretty strong, huh?
Yeah.
And
Each line's got a little character to it. See that?
yeah, so it almost makes it look like it's underwater and the water's moving over it, right?
Or it's like hand carved in some wood, or it's a really nice effect.
I like my drawings to feel like they were done by hand. I don't like really straight lines or perfect circles or even perfect arcs or anything. But look at that. It has that, it almost is, it could be stitched or...
Well, it's like thread that isn't perfectly smooth.
Right.
And you'll notice how Maria's moving the surface every now and then. It's you find the way that's most comfortable for how your hand is making a stroke.
So you can see I'm always moving like very much up and down in a 90 degree.
Yeah.
And the paper is guiding me by moving the paper. It curves that ever so slightly. So you watch me bring this the same way. We're gonna go down towards me.
And then just start almost at the line and go all the way. So it's got this little back and forth like a queue at Disney World.
Yeah. Right. So this tangle is I found on some frames, picture frames, and it was such a beautiful addition to the borders and things. It's so simple.
And it's called Duda because based on the song Zippity Doodah.
Because I thought it looked like a zipper.
And it looks like a zipper, right?
Yeah.
And it's a really nice texture effect.
I didn't want to say zipper because it was too close to exactly what it looked like. Yeah. Or could look like, or because everybody's is different. See the paper turning ever so slightly. Isn't that pretty? Look at that.
Right? Beautiful. So let's put another tangle in.
Right, and I think I'm using my, this is Marasu. It's named for my sisters Madeline, Rachel, and Sue. And it's a spirally kind of thing.
It's like a little arts and crafts project, right? Those little weaving things you did?
Yeah, well, when I was a kid, my mother would give us some old spools, like thread spools or ribbon spools, and everything was wood back then. Nothing was plastic. And we would put some little nails at the top, and then we'd start stringing yarn or some sort of string or threads and stuff around, and it would go down into the hole of the spool and come out as a woven piece of, like a rope, like a, right, kind of thing. And then we would sew it together to create pot holders or whatever. And, of course, we gave them to our mother. I don't know what she did with all of them, but she must have had a ton of them somewhere.
But in watching this, you can see exactly what Maria did. Just doing those arcs or those curves almost in a printemps sort of way. But now comes the fun.
So, right. So the image on this reminded me of what our little hot plates or pot holders would look like.
And I think you're using the 08 black on all of this so far.
So far, yeah. So we're going to go with like a Knightsbridge-y type of effect all the way through this Marasu. And adding some drama.
And again, for making it easiest for your drawing hand, rotating that paper each time. So the same feel then comes through the line if you use the same muscle groups to make it. In this case, it's bumping against the camera stand, but
Yeah.
but you get the idea. And we're just going to do that all the way around.
I don't know what made me do that, but...
Well, I think that's part of the process, is to look at what you're tangling almost as a conversation with your art. And it gives instructions almost. So you start with this very structured approach. You know, you have the step out of the tangle and you do this and then that. But in the process of that, you remain responsive to the unfolding of the artwork, and to, be able to take, I don't know if guidance, I like to think of it as a conversation. You're sitting with a friend and you're having a conversation, and somebody says something else, and that brings something else to mind, and this is like a flow of conversation between, what you're creating on the paper and then responding to what you created. Beautiful. So it's very dramatic.
Mm-hmm. So you can see I had it winding and unwinding behind that Rixty, which is always fun to go in. I could have gone over it at some point, but the Rixty was so pretty that I didn't really want to. Okay, so we're going to go back to the brown, the 05 brown.
And then in those spaces, basically auraing the black.
Right. It's hard to see in this light, but it actually shows up really cool.
You mean the black and the brown,
The
right?
black and the brown, yeah.
And just taking your time. You might think it would be like, oh, I'll just draw them in without moving the paper. But there's this sensitivity to the artwork to be able to turn it and have your hand draw them in the same way. And doing something over and over again makes it the pattern. So even if you may have done something a little bit different than this, just by repeating it, it becomes like, oh, well, you obviously meant to do that because there it is. And it's a situation where something unplanned can lead to something, wow, that's really good.
So by adding these little auras inside the white part of the Knightsbridge, it doesn't even look like Knightsbridge anymore. It just looks like something different, almost like a snake skin or something.
Right. And you can imagine different shapes and sizes. If you look up Marasu, again, on the app, you'll see all sorts of different sequences of fills that people can use.
Can you see how I just cheated?
Yeah, I love it.
And what I'm doing right now is just balancing off those white spaces.
The color.
Look at that.
That's awesome.
Isn't that fun?
This is really exciting to watch.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the others,
the shadings, and when we get to shade and everything. Yeah. So let's see what some others did along this process. And we've got Julie's.
She usually does Marasu.
Yeah.
That's her tangle.
See, totally different style there, right?
Yeah.
I love that. And the fangle just up there, just waiting to see what's next. And so my fangle was a little bit more angular and transparent, so you see the bits, the leaves behind it. And then my Marasu I did a little bit differently.
A little bit.
Quite a bit, right?
Yeah. And there's Molly.
Right.
Although she did the moon pie all in black, and I like that too. That does that.
And look at the Marasu with those what is it? Is that Iowa or what?
Something
Whatever
like
it is.
that.
It's
Oh,
like
it's really striking.
so. It's like taking another tangle and using that almost as a grid.
And here's Martha's. Nice.
Her Duda and everything. Right.
How fun.
Okay, so again, thank you so much for playing with us, for hanging with us, and we look forward to seeing what you do and meeting you tomorrow.
Okay, see you later.
Bye now.